This is Ione,
Hello, everyone.
my friend and wonderful songwriter and artist. We're doing a live episode of McCool and the Gang. Hey guys. Hey Vicky.
Hello.
How you doing? So we're here live on Instagram doing McCool and the Gang. Don't know whether you can see my t-shirt, but I mean it does say McCool, but it's backwards. So and this is my podcast, which I do every month, and I have I have a special guest on every month, someone in music, or like a friend or someone I worked with, and today we have Ione.
Hi there, everyone.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm good, thank you. Really happy to be here. This is actually my first podcast, so I'm really excited.
So, I just want to start by just telling you a bit about how we met. We met in 2015.
2015. It feels like ages ago what it was. So basically, a great place in Manchester called the Band of the Wall, along with a great organisation called Brighter Sound, put together a residency of all female producers, writers, artists, any female basically in the industry. I think they were trying to promote and show that females have talents and gifts across the board in the industry, not just being on stage but behind the scenes too. There were animators. There was an animator. There's so many different creatives. Cool. And we did a residency with Beth Orton, who's a great British singer-songwriter, and we met and connected over our love of pop.
Yeah, I think we were the only two people there. We were, and we I think you sang a song and I was like, pop writer. Yeah, I'm going to go talk to you, because everyone else, and even myself, like I class myself as like indie pop, but also love really commercial pop. And then you sang that song. How did it go?
No, you're never gonna catch me slipping, telling your girls I'm the one I'm missing. I won't be the one.
I was so good.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah,
I want to write with you.
Yeah, there's a lot of like too cool for pop. There's a lot of that going on, but I love a good pop song.
Pop's great.
I love good pop song.
You know what? It's like a puzzle, isn't it? A pop song's like, that's why it's so hard to do. I think people struggle with it because it's so formulaic and it's really like finicky. Like if you're doing like any other genre, like indie rock, it's like you can just write whatever. Yeah. And as long as like there's a good riff or a good bit of drums, I don't know, like pop is so like, I listen to pop, like one of my favourite pop songs is Charlie XCX, Boys. It's like perfect.
I feel like I don't know that. I know I've heard it.
Oh
yeah, of course, yeah.
And all of the video is just insane.
Yeah.
Good as well. But I've just listened to it. I'm like, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Have you got a perfect?
Yeah. Well, I think. Well, just jumping on what you said, I think there's a skill in writing beautiful songs that are poetic and descriptive and really nice. I think there's also another skill in getting your message in a really concise, neat pop package. I think that is a skill in itself. So I really do appreciate that. There's a few. I still love Black Magic by Little Mix. I do love that song.
It's perfect.
There's a song that a lot of people don't really know by the original, like the Sugar Babes, the original ones. Oh. They came out together years later.
I know this one. Flatline, yeah.
Is my jam. Like, I love that song so much. I think they're my two, like, I do like a bit of Kylie, you know.
Slow is
Kylie. Kylie Minogue has got she's
got some bangers,
some corkers. That's what I call them.
I think Slow, and that was written by a really like acoustic indie female songwriter called she's Italian. I think she's Italian. She's got like a really long, difficult name.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. Like, and for me, it's like someone who does indie but also wants to write pop. That's like inspiration. Like, if she can do that, then maybe I can do that.
Well, because a good song is a good song. If you strip them all back and play them all acoustically, the good, the strong, and like I remember hearing the demo to "Baby One More Time" for Britney Spears. It was essentially like an indie rock song. It was like this grown man with hair down here singing it on guitar.
What?
And whoever heard, I can't remember who the producer was. They heard it and thought,
that's gonna go to our 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Wearing a school uniform.
Yeah. So yeah, I do love pop.
We've written a lot of pop together.
Yeah.
And I want to just say that we have written Ione's new single, Tell Me, together.
Oh, yes.
Which is amazing. I heard it the other day. I played it through proper speakers. It sounds wicked. So, yes. We wrote that in...
last year.
April 2019.
April 2019. It takes time, guys. Yeah.
It takes time, doesn't it?
Yeah. So the process for that was just... It was long. It was long, let me say. I actually had this backing track, this beat from a brilliant producer from LA called David Blazer. Hi, David. And he's just brilliant. He just plays with so many interesting sounds and really makes nice atmospheric music. And I just love this beat. And I wrote a song myself to it, and I liked it. I wasn't in love with it. I knew something was missing, so I thought, let's call Natalie McCool. She'll know what to do. And for some reason, I went into the session, and rather than say, "Oh, Nat, I've written the song, help me tweak it and finish it," I just went in and said, "Let's write something from scratch." And we wrote a completely different song to what I had written.
How different was it?
It was still R&B-esque, like the vibe of it. My chorus was a lot singery. That's not even a word, but it's a lot higher. I was in the sky, probably unnecessarily. I think you have a really good ear, like pop ear, and know how to make something short and punchy and catchy. I never would have wrote a hook that's tell me. I just wouldn't have thought to do that. I would have been like, oh, it needs to be more and longer lines, and so it's pretty different. And I don't think I would have wrote that by myself. So yeah, it was really good.
Tell me. What is it about? Or in general terms?
Yeah. So I wrote this song about just noticing and thinking that I had a friend, or a couple of friends actually, that I was just a bit concerned about their mental health, I guess. And I wanted to be like, are you okay? And it's kind of difficult to say that. I didn't know how to broach the subject. I didn't know what behaviors were down to that or were worth challenging, or it was just a really confusing time for me, because I think there was a lot of, which I guess we all do to a certain degree, but there's a spectrum, a bit of facade and a bit of no, I'm fine. But knowing you've seen someone sort of either falling apart or just thinking, oh my gosh, you kind of got behind the veil a bit, and sometimes you don't see these sides of personalities until you're really close, and it was just a bit daunting for me, and I didn't know what to do. So I kind of wrote this song kind of saying, like, you don't have to put up this pretend like it's cool, you can just say. It wasn't soppy, it wasn't like, oh, I really want to be there for you. It was a bit like lines like the noise in your mind and the lies that you tell for the drama.
Yeah.
You know, it's this different size to this thing. There's parts that are like, there's really good people you like, but you know there's manipulative kind of traits. There's things that are a bit toxic. It was just really confusing, really. And I think we covered all areas really nicely, and it wasn't necessarily an attack or anything. It was just like, I can see, like, you're not actually fooling me, and it's okay.
Yeah.
So I think the way we've covered it as well isn't how it's usually spoken about either.
It's not common. I love the first line, wake up, the party's over. Just love that.
Yeah.
So like, it's just a really good setting for that song. Like, you know, when something's just changed and you feel like you're just not right. You've just woken up and something's not right. Like, I just think that was really good. Yeah.
I guess I've not got a favourite line, but definitely the noise in your mind. I love the wake up to find you sober and light is blinding.
Yeah, I love that as well. That first verse for me, I'm just like, sets it really well. Let's just slap ourselves on the back. Hi everyone. So for people who just joining, this is Ione, an amazing artist and guest on my podcast tonight, McCool and the Gang. And we're just talking about her new single Tell Me, which is out now on Spotify and all the
everywhere
stuff. Yes, and you shot the video for it the other day.
I shot the video last.
Looks great.
Thank you so much. I used a production team that I wanted to use for a while called Oliver Bryan, and they are based in Sheffield. They were so pro. They're amazing. 3 of them came down to Manchester, and we just had a great time. It was really weird, actually. I usually have quite a lot of ideas, like visually, and I can imagine things, and I just had no ideas for this video. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want it to be corny. I didn't want it to be like me, you know. I have this thing about mini movies, I'm not sure how I feel about them as music videos. So
yeah,
I was like, I don't want
Beyonce.
Yeah, well, with that kind of budget, it's cool. It looks like a movie. Do you know what I mean? I just think where am I? I was like, I'm not sure. And I didn't want to have like people, you know, going through life and looking sad, and me kind of popping up singing this song like, oh, you can call on me like some odd weird angel. Like, I don't know. I just how do we do this and make it cool and edgy, because it's not. You know what I mean? It was really hard. So we ended up with a studio. Especially with the times that we're in, it was like it's best to have it. We're in one location. It was very simple, clean, sleek, and it's gonna look great. I saw some behind the scenes footage. I saw some bits on the monitor. It looks really good. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I've seen that the behind the scenes video. The colours are really, and the lighting is really nice. What are your kind of influences and sounds that you were influenced by? Not even like artists, just kind of like, oh, I like the sound of this genre or this kind of vibe. I don't know.
Yeah.
What
I mean, it's so weird to say I'm a new artist, because I've been singing for so long. I've released music for so long, but I just haven't been consistent. I've released one song, then disappeared for like a year and a half. Honestly, I don't know what to say, but things have changed now.
New now.
Yeah, I'm new now.
I'm new now.
I'm new now.
It's always good to be new.
Yeah, exactly. So it's so true.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be consistent now, so that's gonna change. So in terms of influences, there's lots of things that influence me. I love the production. Like some songs just make me feel good. I feel something when I hear them. So that tends to be more the soul, R&B, a lot of 80s, 80s stuff. And then vocally, I love singers that just pour the heart out on the track. You can feel that they feel everything they're singing.
Yeah.
So I go for vocals a lot on records. And then the storytelling. I love a good lyric. So I think it's kind of broad. I don't have one particular genre I listen to. Like I said, a good song's a good song. If I can connect to it in some way, it's fine. So everything from country to pop to rock to R&B to soul to grime to Afrobeats, I enjoy it all. I think it's helpful to be open in life and in general, and as a songwriter. And I think once you start to shut yourself down and you hear something and go, oh god, it's rubbish, I don't like that, oh, it's not music, you just rob yourself of a chance to learn and to grow. There's people who love every genre, so there's something you can learn from it. So I do think there is a difference between artists who write their own stuff and artists who are songwriters too. And a lot of it is just the openness, and it's something that I really want to keep as well. And like I say, it maybe has taken me a bit of time to figure out, okay, what actually is my sound and where actually do I sit, because I write so much different types of music and songs. But I think overall it's a positive. It's weird, even non-singers in church can probably find a harmony, because it's just a culture. Yeah. So group around music in that sense. My grandma did sing, my auntie sings, my mum just sing a bit actually, to be honest. So but no one really pursued a career. I don't believe it's only me that's done that. And there wasn't a lot of musicians in the family at all, really. I remember an uncle of mine playing the saxophone.
That's cool uncle.
Yeah. but that was it, really. Yeah.
Okay, so you're kind of like the first one. You know, when people are like the first child to go to university, like you're the first artist.
And I was the first to go to was it first? Well, first out the grandkids to go to university as well. So yeah,
well, you hit two boxes there. Yeah, that's cool. We wrote the song, and you had the beat already, and someone did the beat and sent it to you, and then we wrote the song, and then you sent it to someone to produce. So tell about the team behind it then.
Yes,
there's always a team behind.
It is a
every
team
pop
effort.
song.
Yeah, and just in the terms of staying open, it's good to listen to people, the right people. So I have a few people that I trust their expertise and their knowledge and their input. So we wrote the song and I was like, great, this is it. I got the stems, I went to the studio to record it, and then we got to the mixing stage actually. And the person who mixed my music is also a musician, a multi-instrumentalist and a producer and a writer and singer themselves. And they were just like, it just needs a little bit more. It needs a little bit of, actually that's a lie, sorry. We wrote it and I knew I wanted the bridge. We didn't have a bridge, and I knew I wanted it to be quite soulful. I wanted interesting chords, and so I took it to someone else to work that out with me.
I remember that. Yeah, we wrote the bridge, but it was over different chords.
basically.
That's right, yeah, I remember.
So I took it to a guy called Luke Smith, who is a genius, and he wrote me a nice bridge. Then he went to another producer who finished it off and added more bits to the second pre-chorus, embellished the bridge, and just basically did additional production. So in the end, there was a few people involved, but it really worked and it made sense because people have different strengths, and there's a lot of beat makers, but necessarily may not be able to give me the chords I want. And then there's a lot of musicians that are producers that I like, but I want the edge. I want that kind of grit that sometimes comes from someone who's just really heavily into beats. So it's just like the marriage of everything, and the vocal arrangement, I got help with that too. You'd be surprised how people will sabotage themselves just because of that need for control or the ego.
The song is that.
The song is what's paramount. It's not you. It's not even your feelings. I'm not interested. What's going to make the song the best?
Or your vision for that.
Exactly.
Takes precedent over any producer.
Yeah. And even, I could have really hurt myself by not being open to all these suggestions and rewriting it with you. And if I was hanging on to my ideas, we wouldn't be here. So I really have to give props to David, and his spirit is all about do what you got to do to make it better. I've taken it as far as I can. If you want to have this bridge, then do it. Take it to whoever you need to take it to. And I always send it back to him just to see if he's okay. And I think he appreciates that. But I really have to thank him for that, because that could have been tricky if he was like, no.
Yeah.
They could have been tricky, yeah.
I think a lot of people just have difficulty with, they understand that there are other really talented people, but it's like that thing of like you've just got to let go and accept that what you think is a great idea might not be what ends up being on it, because there's a million other factors involved, and it's not about you.
It's not. And it's weird, and these same people with the attitude are trying to stand next to some of the biggest artists in the world, and they don't get that they're writing 80 songs and picking the best 10 for a project, and they've got people in different rooms writing 3 verses, and they're picking the best, and like it's a real operation. It's not just one person. No. And
you've got to, even if you contribute like 2 lines in the pre-chorus that are but an amazing 2 lines, like, and they use it, be happy with that. Like,
be happy.
It's just there's so much involved.
I think you are right. It is nice to start with like a small group, or maybe you and a piano. I think you get, as long as you get the core of it right. I think to start with this mega machine, I'm not sure that's for me. I get some people do that. Depends on what the end goal is.
I think it's very authentic to start.
Well, this is
like
it.
That.
So I think for me to start with myself, even if it doesn't end up in the final, cut, or me and a pianist, I think that's really good. The next thing I'm going to do is release the lead single from my EP. So like times have really changed. Like at one point you just release singles from your album or your EP, and that was that. But there's also promo singles and in between singles and mixtapes. And so Tell Me isn't really part of a bigger project. It's almost like a hey, I'm back type single. And it's, just a precursor of what's to come. It's just letting people know that I'm back and this is what I do. So the next single is going to be the lead single from my EP. The EP is called The Tide Is Changing, and the lead single is called Loved By You. So I'm going to release that. I haven't got released it yet, but it's probably going to be, I would say maybe end of August. What we now, July? Yeah, probably end of August, early September. And then the EP will come out a month after that. So that's my next thing, is to release the lead single, the EP, and I would love to possibly release another project this year or early next year. So just to keep writing, just to keep it coming. Yeah, I think for me, I would love to get back to the stage where I just write for writing's sake more. I found maybe with just life and being busy, I almost write for purpose. Like, I've got this song and I need to finish it, so I'm gonna write.
Yeah.
But I love when I hear people say, I just spent a whole day writing today and recording. It's so nice. It just feel great. And this is why I do like co-writing, because once we set the time to write, I know I'm showing up to write and I'll commit to it. So I do now start to put writing in just to my daily sort of routine. It doesn't necessarily happen every day, but sometimes I just write because I'm using my muscle, or I'll get inspiration. I get inspiration all the time with songs, actually, especially when reading. It's really weird. Yeah. Like I'll have like lines that would jump out at me, or words. I'll just put it in my notes in my phone, and so I'm always kind of getting ideas.
Yeah, I've kind of changed the way I write. Like, sometimes I will have an idea and I'll have to record it there and then. But a lot of the time, I like to schedule in days because I find that really helps me. Like, because it's almost like it gets built up and then you are setting aside a time to let it come out, and then it gets built up again, and then you set aside that time to get it out. It's quite nice.
Yeah, I like that. I like setting time for days because I feel like songwriting is a skill. So waiting for this, raindrop of inspiration to come and then write is kind of one way of doing it. But I love the idea of just setting aside time. Like one time I sat down, especially with our song we wrote the other day.
Yeah.
I had the lyrics and I had to put the melody to it. I just said, I've got 45 minutes to do this, and I did it.
It was so good.
I did it.
Is that How Long Is a Breath?
Yeah, I did it. So it's like, it's just, I love the idea of almost challenging myself like that to kind of, okay, I'm going to give myself like 2 hours to write.
Yeah, it's a good challenge doing that. I think like when you think like that, like, oh, I'm just going to wait for the inspiration, you can do that, but that is dangerous because then you get into the mindset of what you were saying earlier, like, I'm like the being precious about things.
And it might not come again,
Might not come again, and you're like, and then that brings in a different kind of fear that you can't do it unless you're feeling inspired.
Yeah.
But you can even if you're feeling uninspired, you can do something. Time.
I think that's part of it. Like there is a gifting and a natural talent and a kind of inspiration, but songwriting is a craft and it's a skill.
Yeah.
So treat it as such.
We wrote poems recently, didn't we?
Yes.
In response to everything that's been going on in the US with the police and in the communities, we wrote we wrote 2 poems.
Yeah.
So I wrote a poem and you wrote a poem.
Yeah.
And then we swapped.
Yeah.
And did a song to it.
Yes.
And that was so amazing.
It was amazing. it was really amazing. I used to write poetry when I was younger, but it's been a long time since. Well, actually, I didn't give you a poem. I gave you You
gave me morning notes.
So I basically completed this course called The Artist's Way, and it's a book. I think the lady's called Julia Cameron, and it's a course about breaking or unblocking yourself, like all your creative blocks.
I have to do that.
And it's this spiritual, journey you go on with this book. It's so good. And one of the practices is to write morning pages. So you get up and you just write your thoughts.
I used to do that when I was younger.
Even if you just chatting a lot of rubbish, just write it down.
Yeah.
And it was phenomenal just to read back the truth of yourself. Like it was really crazy. Like actually, like I read some pages back and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm sad or I'm in a lot of pain, and I didn't think I was. Like it's just so weird. It was so weird. But I was feeling a lot of things when this video came out of George Floyd being killed. I didn't watch it, but I was really like deeply affected, and I didn't really know what to do. I was just like, I feel awful, like actually traumatized. And I know we had this idea to do something, but I was almost slightly avoiding it too.
You were just like, I can't even process.
Yeah, not now, but I knew I had to work through it and just figure out why I felt the way I felt, and just put it out there. And even if it was for no one else, it's just for me, I think it was important to do. So I just wrote these 3 pages, my musings, and it was part poetry, part ramblings, and then you took it and made it into a song.
There was a line that you kept on repeating, and it was like, I see you in me, or maybe I am.
Is it I'm in you?
I see me in you, or maybe you are in me.
Yes,
that's it. That's such a beautiful line. I was like, oh my God, that's got to be like the refrain.
Yeah. I think because that was my whole thing. It was like, oh my gosh, that's someone whose skin color the same as mine, being treated like that, and life being disregarded, and I saw myself. I saw myself in him, and it was. I guess that's the gift of being a writer. You get to use your pain and write through it, and it's just really good. It's really good. Like I don't have to go to a job where I have to suppress that and put on a happy face. I can actually write and use this to fuel my art and
it does. And what I liked about what we did, it wasn't really obvious either.
no.
It was just because we were worried about that. We were like, oh, we don't want it.
Yeah, it's just not
Don't
me. I think we need everybody. We with every crisis in the world, we need people who fight for change.
It's more like commenting on it, isn't it? It's like, well, this is my comment on
and my feelings, and you know, a lot of emphasis is put on like what you're gonna do to make things better now, which is important, but it's also important to sit back and process how you feel. So our kind of offering was a bit more on those lines, and it was really interesting how we both saw it, because we're obviously looking at this and responding differently because we're different people, and we're so different. So it was really nice to read yours too, your poem.
I find that actually, and it's interesting because you said it the other day, like writing from a poem, you just get
it's so different,
just so much.
It's so different
because you're not thinking about the rhyming process, or the meter as much. You're just going blah, and it's good.
And it seems to be more descriptive and emotive, because in a poem, you know, there's not going to be music to complement or accentuate what you're trying to say. It has to be, this poem has to grip people and get your message across with just these words. So there's so much more weight involved. And I don't really like to put one process against another. I think they're all different and really good. Because I've got some musician friends who consider writing to beats as some like lesser form, but I'm like,
no, not at all.
It's all good.
It's a different skill.
It's a different skill.
Because then you've got to really fit in between the rhythm, and that is very hard. It's like writing pop, but you've got to be snappy and direct with it.
To write and make it feel like that beat was made just for that song is like
that's
such
a skill.
And then to sit with a pianist or a guitarist and write a song and then add production to it is a different skill. So I enjoy it all, but it's been a while since I wrote a poem, so I really did enjoy that. Really did. I need to maybe go back through my morning notes, because the course ended months ago, but I've kept the practice going. It's so part of my routine now to get up in the morning and write. So I may go back there for some inspiration.
Well, I need to do it.
The artist way.
The artist way.
It will take you on a journey, because, you know, everything's all connected. So you may think some blockages are because of you as a musician. It may even go all the way back to your inner child and your childhood. It is so wild. But it's so, I mean, I guess it's one of the things where it depends how open you are. You know, what you give to it or what you're willing to offer to it is what you get out of it. So it was quite an upheaval for me, but it was great. It was really, really quite life-changing. It's a popular book. A lot of people know about it, and it was another producer who recommended it to me, and it's so good. I think it's worth it. Every artist may be doing it. Yes.
So we talked about your single "Tell Me," which is out now, which we wrote together, and you have more singles coming.
And an EP
coming. What have we written anything else that's been released?
I don't believe so. You know, we've written a lot of songs,
and that have got like varied. This is the thing again with songwriting. Like, you can write 100 songs, one of them will go through. You just don't know, do you?
You just don't know.
We've been so close sometimes,
and this is why you have to do it, because you love it. And
exactly,
I do think it strengthened me a lot writing with you over the years. And it will happen, and when it does happen, we'll have a catalogue of songs. Do you know what I mean? And I think sometimes people want to just get there like that, but all the groundwork none of it's wasted. So my next EP, I would definitely write together for that. The one that's coming out, I feel like I wrote all the songs myself. Actually, one song from that EP actually was from the residency as well, from like years ago.
Really? Amazing. Which one?
Another female producer called Gina. Produced this song. So we had to go around. Yeah, we had to go around in the circle and play a piece of our music.
Yeah.
And if anyone resonated with it or liked it, and she played this song, this backing track, and I actually screamed in the circle. I was like,
"Is it the one that's It's really quite low and soulful."
Yes.
I love that song.
How's it go?
Just sing it.
Well, again, it's hooky. The hook is, I bet you wanna be my baby. I bet you wanna run away with me.
It's so good.
Such a tune.
Yeah.
And then again, I took it to Gavin to do some additional production.
You played me that in your mum's. I was like, this is
It's a tune. It's evolved from that. It's evolved now quite a bit from what you heard.
Yeah.
And it sounds so good. It sounds so good. So yeah, I'm excited to share that and put that out. And that EP was finished from last year. So don't ask me what took or what's taken so long to get it out.
It does take time sometimes.
It's so long. And I was a perfectionist before. I think that slowed me down a bit. But now I'm like, I want to get this stuff out now.
Yeah. Sometimes you do have to my album, like, I released my last album in 2016. That long, 2016. And like, obviously lockdown happened, so I don't really want to release an album right now, but thinking about releasing it next year and like actually putting the plans together, I'm like, oh my god, it's actually happening. Yeah. These songs that I've had for like 4 years.
That's the thing, is like, so by the time people hear it, you've sat on them, not sat on them, but you know them for years, you have them for years, and you're
bored, but everyone's like, oh wow, this is totally new, like, and then you're like, really? You're just like bored of them. But and that's another thing, like having always believing in yourself, because I do that a lot, like oh, these are old, like who wants to hear these, like,
but it's so fresh to them,
it's fresh to other people. You've always got to think about that,
because this EP that I'm about to release feels like, man, like if I went in the studio now and made some new songs, they'd be so much better, or they'd be so different because you're in different space, but with
either good or bad.
Yeah, exactly. But it takes time, and I don't want to sabotage myself by thinking that, like, oh no, I could even do better now, and them thoughts kind of keep you a bit stuck. So I was like, no, it needs to come out. I love them, they're good, so they're coming out.
Yes.
Yeah, it's weird the way it's worked out. I actually wrote and recorded Tell Me after the EP that's coming out after it. So I almost feel like Tell Me is probably closer to my sound, or the sound that I want, but the EP's coming out after it that was finished before it. So but it happens. It happens like that, yeah.
Sometimes you'll do a video and it won't come out till like 6 months later.
Literally.
And by then you'll have different hair. That always annoys me.
Yeah.
I've got different hair now.
Like, it just takes time, and then when you're independent artist, you're doing it all yourself, aren't you?
Exactly.
Doing it all yourself. So a lot of it's like
hard work,
budget, and you know, trying to make everything work and eat and live.
Yes.
So
yeah. You do some amazing other work as well, like inspiring on stage and things like that. So that keeps you going. It's good. Yeah.
It's hard to get the balance right. So we do a lot of sessions and backing singing and musical theatre, but it's can be time consuming. So it's like, wait, hang on a second, I'm an artist too. But like I said, I have to eat. So it's like that balance is so hard to get. So one of the things in lockdown I've been able to do is actually focus on my own music, which has been so good.
So I've got a playlist that I do called The Magic Number, bi-monthly. Twice a month, I think that's what that means. Bi-monthly means twice a month.
I thought that's fortnightly.
Fortnightly. I think they mean the same thing.
Bi-monthly, I thought that's every other month.
Is it? I thought it was twice a month, or maybe I'm describing it wrong.
Every fortnight.
Every fortnight. It comes out every fortnight, people. And so every time I have a guest on the podcast, I always get them to recommend a few songs to go on it. So if you want to give me some recommendations of some cool songs that you've been listening to right now, that'd be great.
This one's not super new. It's actually newish.
It doesn't have to be new.
Okay. I love this song called Wake Up Love by Tiana Taylor. She's so good. And it's so simple, and it's featuring her husband, which is so cute. He raps on it. And I just love the production. The melody's so nice. I think you'll love it. I love Snow Allegra, so I love her song I Want You Around. And she's got a new song called Dying for Your Love Too. Again, very very soulful, but very influenced by hip hop, both of them actually, so I like that marriage. I actually there's a group that Beyonce sort of, did she sign them to a label, Chloe and Halle, these sisters.
I think I've heard of that.
And they got a song called Do It, which is such a nice vibe. It's very like commercial R&B, but they've got beautiful voices, so it's just really nice to hear some girls who can really sing on a beat like that and a track like that. It's kind of a party track, but really sounds pretty as well with their voices. So I love that song too.
Is there anything else you want to add?
Well, yeah. Well, mainly my single's out now, and you can find me on all the socials. Ione_official for Instagram, Ione official for Twitter.
Ione.
Ione, yeah. Ione official Twitter, Facebook, Ione, everywhere Ione.
Everywhere
so
everything.
Just keep up to date with like all the things I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of promo for the single actually. It's actually quite cool. I don't think I've done so much for a single. Lots of studios are starting to open back up. So we're doing sessions where I'm recording the single, podcasts, interviews on Zoom for radio stations that are not quite letting people back in yet. So there's lots of things, exciting things happening. And I've got more of a team helping me now. Like even things like styling and makeup, everything feels like it's elevated a bit and it just helps. So it's quite exciting for me. So yeah, definitely follow me on all these socials and you keep up to date on what I'm doing. Yes,
please do follow. So I think I'm gonna wrap this up now because I'm sweating.
I know.
we got a light over here and it's like, oh my god. But yes, this has been McCool and the Gang live recording podcast. This is Ione, the amazing Ione. Her single's out now. Go and listen to it. It's called Tell Me. I'm Natalie McCool. Thanks so much for watching and see you next month. Bye.